Hello, welcome to the Daily Juice. I'm your host, Shardene Blake, and this is your pep talk before you start your day. Today, I want to talk to you about taking action. I want to talk about you have that idea and you feel like this is a good one, and then you sit on it, you procrastinate, you spend all your time planning what you're going to do instead of doing what it is that you need to do to make that idea a reality. So when I had the idea for the Daily Juice, completely inspired idea, just dropped into my head, fully formed. I knew it was a good idea because I knew that if I saw somebody else do this in a month's time or a year's time, I'd be absolutely gutted. So I jumped on it straight away and I took action, and here I am now, a year later, still doing the Daily Juice. And I honestly believe that ideas don't belong to you. They float around in the ether, and when you're on the same vibration, have the same energy of the idea, it drops into your head. And that's what happened with the Daily Juice. And I just knew, like, if I didn't do something with the Daily Juice, that idea was just going to float off, drop into somebody else's head who would do something with it. So if you've got a good idea, firstly, don't just sit on it. Do something to realize it. Do something to take action towards it. And I read something in Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's such a good book. I'm going to read it to you now because it just makes so much sense to me. So yeah, I act on the Daily Juice. I act on lots of things, but there's also things in my life that I'm not acting on. There are things that I want, there are goals that I want to achieve, and I'm not necessarily doing the work that I need to do. And I read this and I was like, right, it inspired me so much to take more action. I want to read it to you. It is easy to get bogged down trying to find the optimal plan for change, the fastest way to lose weight, the best program to build muscle, the perfect idea for a side hustle. We are so focused on figuring out the best approach that we never get around to taking action. As Voltaire once wrote, the best is the enemy of the good. I refer to this as the difference between being in motion and taking action. The two ideas sound similar, but they are not the same. When you're in motion, you're planning and strategizing and learning, and those are all good things, but they don't produce results. Action, on the other hand, is the type of behaviour that will deliver an outcome. If I outline 20 ideas for articles I want to write, that's motion. If I sit down and write an article, that's action. If I search for a better diet plan and read a few books on the topic, that's motion. If I actually eat a healthy meal, that's action. Sometimes motion is useful, but it will never produce an outcome by itself. It doesn't matter how many times you go to talk to the personal trainer, the motion will never get you in shape. Only the action of working out will get the results you're looking to achieve. If motion doesn't lead to results, why do we do it? Sometimes we do it because we actually need to plan or learn more. But more often than not, we do it because motion allows us to feel like we're making progress without running the risk of failure. Most of us are experts at avoiding criticism. It doesn't feel good to fail or to be judged publicly, so we tend to avoid situations where that might happen. And that's the biggest reason why you slip into motion rather than taking action. You want to delay failure. It's easy to be in motion and convince yourself that you're still making progress. You think, I've got conversations going with 4 potential clients right now, that is good. We're moving in the right direction. Or I brainstormed some ideas for that book I want to write. This is coming together. Motion makes you feel like you're getting things done, but really you're just preparing to get something done. When preparation becomes a form of procrastination, you need to change something. You don't want to merely be planning. You want to be practicing. If you want to master a habit, the key is to start with repetition, not perfection. Stop avoiding criticism or judgment or other people's opinions by not taking action. That's what I got from this. I was like, oh my gosh, there are things that you're going to have to do where other people are going to see them, and there are chances that other people might have an opinion on what you're doing, and it might not feel that good to you, but are you willing to just take that little bit of discomfort off somebody else to get to where it is that you want to go? Do you actually deep down really care about someone else's opinion about what you're doing if you know where it is that you're going? If you know, I'm doing something right now that is not my best work, that is not going to showcase who I really am, but I know I have to do this to get to where I want to go and become the person I know I'm meant to be. Does it matter? Does it really matter? And I ask myself that question all the time. I have to give myself this pep talk to say, just do the thing, because half the time people don't even care what you're doing. People don't even pay attention to what you're doing. I've also watched other people's journeys of them starting out, and it might not be the best work they've ever produced that they've put out there, but I've seen that progression to where they are now a master of their craft, and it is a beautiful thing to see somebody start something and then become amazing at that thing. If you go to the gym and you've never worked out before, you haven't worked out for a long time, or you're not your fittest, you don't feel like the healthiest you can be, but you feel so self-conscious that you don't want to go in there, don't worry about it. Do you know what? How amazing is it to see somebody work towards their goals? I love cheering people on. So if you feel in your mind, I don't want to do that thing because I'm scared of people criticizing me or someone's opinion or someone judging me, turn it around, because you'll never know. For the most part, you'll never know what someone really thinks about you. You just not, because people might think something about you and never tell you. You might not even know everybody who sees what you're doing. So change it around, and in your mind just think, that person's cheering me on. Like, instead, why are we so paranoid? Why don't we take a leaf out of Clement W. Stone's book? And he was an inverse paranoid. So he just believed the world wanted the best for him. He believed that anything that went wrong was a setup for something good happening to him. So why don't you become an inverse paranoid and just think, I'm doing this thing and people are cheering me on. I'm doing this thing and I know I'm going to get better at this thing. I know this isn't the best that I'm ever going to do, but people are cheering me on to be better. That's what I think. I think when I do this, the Daily Juice, instead of people going, oh my God, this is just nowhere near as good as other people's videos, or this is nowhere near as good as some of the stuff that I've watched before, I think, no, people might watch it and be like, she's getting better, or this is so great that she's putting herself out there, or do you know what, I'm so pleased someone has started this idea of giving people pep talks. I think like that, because otherwise the fear of people's judgment would just paralyse me, and it would paralyse me to a point where I would just want things to be perfect before I ever put them out in the world, and I would never do anything. I don't have the time for perfection, even though I actually truly don't think perfection exists, because I don't even know what it would look like to me, perfection. So I don't think it exists. I know all the time I do things and think, I could do that better. But I've learned on the job, I've done something and think, yeah, I could do that better next time. So taking action is all of that. Taking action is moving towards the result. Taking action isn't planning to take action. And that planning to take action, when it turns into procrastination, the fact that it's just, what does James Clear say? It's you wanting to delay failure, and failure isn't necessarily a bad thing. Failure is where you learn. Failure builds resilience. Failure means you can get up, dust yourself off and think, I'm going again, and this time I'm going to succeed. So take that action, whatever action you're putting off because you're worried about other people, don't put it off. Take that action today. Do something towards getting yourself to where you want to be. Have the most amazing day. Let me know what action you've decided to take from watching this video, because I would 100% love to know, and I'd love to cheer you on. I'll see you all soon for another Daily Juice. Bye. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, subscribe and turn on your notifications.